We need to talk about this, the Champions Cup move. So, this move was announced by the PDGA that the Champions Cup will be moving to California, to where we just watched the OTB Open happen. Now, before we talk about this, I want to preface it before we start getting hate from California people. Nothing wrong with the OTB Open course. Course played well. Tournament was fun. You know, I like the finishing stretch.
I think there's one thing wrong with the OTB Open course.
Okay, but I'm saying overall, like, there was a good tournament.
Yeah, I was going to say my only complaint, and this is not my only complaint with OTB Open course, and this is with some golf courses in general, is I'm finding it increasingly difficult to understand where golfers' shots are.
That is true.
When they land.
Yeah, but that's golf courses.
But I like the way that they play.
They definitely. Well,
let me tell you what they should do.
Okay, yeah.
I have an idea, because once again, taking this from golf, and what they've been doing a lot in golf is they show the behind the tee, golfers getting ready to hit, and you see a little arrow out in the middle of the fairway and it says target. I think that would be huge for disc golf. Just like give me an idea.
Well, I think the problem though with
you just have to go through every hole and just have.
Well, but on like this course, for instance, had a lot of really wide fairways and players were aiming in multiple different places.
That is true.
So like,
but I just like need a reference.
Yeah,
because it's you watch.
No, there was a few holes where one in particular on FPI, I forget what it was, but Owen and Ella both went forehand and Holland went backhand and like hit this tree that was in the middle of the fairway. And when they threw it, the way the camera was lined up, they threw it like off to the right. And I thought that Owen and like when I think it was Ella actually that went first. She ripped over this forehand and it looked shanked. It looked like she released it so early.
It's very tough.
And then
to
it
get
cut
context.
and it skipped and she was like 10 feet. And I was like,
yeah.
Oh my God.
I was like, how did that just get there? And then
tough.
Owen did the same thing and I was like, that's also shanked. And then it was also great. I was like, where is this basket? I was like so confused because when it cut, you just lost all reference.
How about that then? Arrow at least in the direction of the basket.
Yeah, basket here. That would be helpful.
Because like I just need some context. But yes,
anyways,
course, I like the way the course plays. Front nine's but the back nine's pretty good. And also nothing wrong with the state of California either. This has nothing to do with the state of California.
So the PDGA comes out and says,
hole 17 rocks.
As the work continues on the restoration of the IDGC in Appling, Georgia, the PDGA has determined that the 2025 Champions Cup will not be contested at the site of its inaugural edition of the event. For 2025, the fourth running of the PDGA Major will have a temporary home and will still hold its spot as a spring major on the schedule at Swenson Park Disc Golf Course in Stockton, California. It'll run from Thursday, May 1st through Sunday, May 4th. It's home to the elite track of the OTB Open. Doug Bierkes said it's critically important that when Champions Cup returns to IDGC that it's played on a course that is truly elite, from challenging fairways to spectator accommodations. The staff at the PDGA and IDGC take tremendous pride in this event, and decision to relocate the event in 2025 was not taken lightly. So basically, IDGC is not ready yet. Hopefully it'll eventually come back. Here's the problem. It has established its identity as the tough wooded major. Mm-hmm. And now it's going to a golf course.
Yeah, that is.
Which is the opposite.
It's a tough one because, the Champions Cup, obviously with the new major, the toughest thing you have against you is you have no history, you have no identity. Everybody's kind of like, and the Champions Cups, the idea was like, okay, you have to like, I don't even completely understand. Like, I get that you get automatic spots if you like win stuff, but it's everybody that should be there is still there every year. So it's not even like it feels like USDGC or anything where qualifying seems that difficult.
Yeah.
They had, they really doubled down on this when they couldn't go to IDGC and they went to the hardest wood course in the world.
Yeah.
So they were like, okay, we were all like, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, if you remember, the first move they attempted was from W.R. Jackson to Toboggan. And it was met with great resistance.
Everyone's like, why
are you doing that? Like, let's just keep it in one spot. And they said, you know what? We're wrong. We're going to bring it back. W.R. Jackson. Everyone's like, yay. Year 2 happens. W.R. Jackson's sick. The stupid Beatles. I hate the Beatles.
Yeah, we hate the Beatles.
Take out the course of W.R. Jackson. And there you go. Okay, let's move it to Northwood. Okay?
That makes sense.
It seems that when they made that move, they were just trying to find a place to host a major, but the communication to the public and how the public perception and player perception was like, this is the tough wooded major. Yeah. That is its identity. So okay, we're good with that.
Which doesn't exist.
Yeah.
That's why it's perfect too, is like, it would be one thing if we already had one, we'd be like, okay, it's fine if it's not going to be that. But like, there isn't, Worlds typically tries to give you a mix. You're going to get that again this year. Some wooded golf, some open golf. European Open, I would say also a little bit of a mix, but certainly not super tight woods. And then USDGC, definitely not super tight woods. So this made sense, and like it felt like they doubled down on it. And this is like the most stark polar opposite move they could make, basically. And I think, I don't know if you had it written down, but I think Drew Gibson mentioned something about bids. He threw out. I
didn't write it down because it was a stupid take. Because I don't think there were bids for this move.
Yeah, I don't know that was involved. But even if that is the case, even if it was just like, well, nobody else wanted to host, it's like you are the number one. These exist at public parks most of the time, so sometimes there's not even cost associated. And B, you're the PDGA, and this is your major. Like, just make it happen. Like, you should have a committee that can just put on an event. It's ridiculous having to depend on other people to run your events for you. What are you guys doing?
Well, that's what's crazy to me is, like, especially Champions Cup, right? Because USDGC, there's a really solid team that runs that event. Okay. European Open, same thing. Really solid team that runs that event. But Worlds, we have seen it depends a lot on the course they go to and the community around it, how that event is ran. In Champions Cup, with it being at home at IDGC, the PDGA ran it, they took pride in it, seemed to be a really well-run event. Well, then they go to Northwood, and it might as well have been ran by the PDGA because you have Nate Heinold and the Ledgestone team running it there. But then, like, the excuse of, like, well, we need someone to run it, it's like, have you not looked inward? Like, do you not have a staff that you can, like, that's what's confusing to me is, maybe it's time we just rethink the major process if that's the reason that we're choosing courses, just like whoever's most equipped to run it is who gets it. Like,
you think?
Like the PDGA, here's an idea. This is my new idea. I'm gonna officially propose this. No, I've got the perfect idea.
Let's say, should we volunteer for
No, this is my idea. I've got this. No one needs to volunteer. People can get paid. Basically, what they need to do is axe and completely remove the magazine budget. And let's put the magazine budget into the Champions Cup budget and to pay someone to run the event. We already have the money because right now, basically, everyone's just using the PDGA magazines as fire starters for whatever bonfire and stuff. Name one article in the PDGA magazine.
I have one in my closet somewhere.
I don't get it anymore because I haven't renewed in like a year and a half.
Yeah, I have stacks on stacks. I get 12 every year.
Stacks on stacks.
You know, or maybe everyone. Or here's another idea. Aren't there certain states where you can like recycle and get money back?
Well, of course, yeah.
Okay, so here's a separate idea. Everyone listening who's PDGA members, let's send all of our PDGA magazines we have collected back to the PDGA.
Okay.
They can recycle those. Good for the environment, and they'll get like a nickel or whatever back per magazine. Then they can use that money for the budget so that they can afford to run their own major instead of relying on local communities.
Let's play a game called We Go Back and Forth and Name Courses.
I kind of like that idea.
Let's play a game called We Go Back and Forth and Name Courses that be better for this major without even having to think about it and see how long we can go.
Okay.
All right.
Who starts? Me?
I'll go first.
Go ahead.
Peaks View Park.
Okay.
Okay. New London.
Idlewild.
You guys just go back and forth.
Nevin Park.
Maple Hill.
R.L. Smith.
I mean, there's like, what, 5?
Hornets Nest.
4 or 5?
Hornets Nest.
All right, there's another one.
That'd be a great one.
Northwood again.
Yeah.
That'd be better still.
Did you say Idlewild already?
Beaver State would probably be better. They could probably find a layout in there that'd work. Milo.
Really just a lot of things.
Iron Hill.
There's so many. Yeah, that's a great one. Great
Thank
one,
you.
Hunt. Yeah.
Brewster
What's that
Ridge,
course?
whichever one's the wooded one in Vermont.
Yeah, Fox Run or the other one. Or, yeah, what's the course they played in?
Ooh, Camp Canaan, South Carolina. That's a really good wooded course. Diavolo.
Yeah.
That could do
Not
it.
hard enough.
North Cove.
Put some teeth on it.
Yeah, there you go. Well,
What's
it's
the-
also not
No,
hard
that's
enough.
golf
This is-
course.
Also not
This-
wooded.
This is really like...
Pretty much any North Carolina course could do it.
This is really the best time for us to go ahead and release our I Hate the Beatles merch.
I hate the
Yeah,
Beatles.
we bring it back.
The Beatles
Yeah.
ruined
I think that
us.
shirt might still be on the site.
I'm just
Well,
like, next year we're going to watch this major, and once again, we're going to have to be like, okay,
Well,
it's
this is
a
the-
major.
this
and
is
like,
the good news.
They care about it, but what is the thing?
They went back on their idea before. It seems sometimes at the PDGA, like this is their vetting process.
Yeah.
Where they just like make an
It
announcement.
just
They're like,
goes about-
let's see what happens. Let's see what people think.
The pros just handed
Well,
it
that's
to
what I'm
them.
saying. Is it's not just us. The move was basically met with zero people
Yeah,
excited.
before you guys get all just
Except
relax.
for-
Listen to your your friends, the
I will
pros
say,
here.
there was a handful of California residents who were happy to get this, which makes sense.
Well,
Like
sure.
if I lived in California and I'm getting
yeah.
a major for the first time
That
in like
makes
10
sense.
years, yeah, I'm gonna be stoked too.
They should just have it at New London.
But here's just I just went.
But
this
also,
took me
this
like
is
5 minutes.
NorCal, isn't it? This isn't even like Southern Cal.
Stockton, California. I don't know where it's it's at. This took me like 5 minutes to pull together these pros' opinions from social media. Gavin Babcock said, "Love the property, but this is highly disappointing. Champions Cup is in the woods." Ezra Robinson,
And he's not even a Wooded player.
yeah. Ezra Robinson said, this is all right as long as we get to use carts and it has more trees and it's in Georgia at IDGC or Northwood. I'm down with this change." Holly Finley said, "Will they be planting more trees?" Sullivan Tipton said, "Please change this PDGA." Isaac Robinson said, "Bummer." Mason Ford said, "Heartbreaking." Evan Scott
Oh my
said,
gosh.
Evan Scott said, "Might be the most I've ever wished Instagram had a dislike button." Zach Melton said, "Thumbs down emoji." Schwebby, which I believe he has the most wins in PDGA history, said, "WTF, boo." That's just a few
you
of them
go.
I pulled together.
A lot of Woods guys in there.
Now,
but-
here's a few takeaways that I have from this one.
Okay.
Okay.
Those are your takeaways.
Number one-
3 keys to victory from Hunter.
This is my 2 keys to victory,
Your 2
presented
keys.
by FoundationDisc.com, your premium disc golf store. A few takeaways here. One, I don't know if the PDGA asks players for insight before making decisions,
They don't.
or even include them in before it was released, because
Let
it
me
seemed
give you-
like all these players were just like, "What?"
No,
when
they
it happened.
probably asked the ones from California. They're like, yeah, sounds great. See the
Secondly,
fam.
it apparently only takes 3 years to form tradition in disc golf, so DGPT events should be pretty excited because they can take notes on how quickly they can establish an identity if they just stick to one.
It's true.
Like, we only had 3 years of Champions Cup, and it caused this much
True.
outrage when we went away from the identity.
True.
So
Good point.
it just takes 3 years of
We're a
to
young
build your
sport,
history.
man. Everything works in dog years.
So if you just commit to an identity, 3 years from now, you can have it. Something to think about for all of you Pro Tour events.
Interesting.
Like, if you just don't redesign the course every year, you can have an identity around it. So
You too can
Something-
prevent identity
yeah,
crisis.
just stop redesigning your courses, and you can have it.